Good morning, guys. I hope you had a great weekend. It was a good weekend here. Beautiful weather. I hope you're doing well. Um, I just want to remind you guys that you need to make sure that even though you're doing your work, that you go into Edmodo and you submit done and you submit pictures for things that I've asked for. You can even submit pictures to things that I haven't asked for. The reason that we do that is because I need to know that each assignment is being done, even though it's not for a grade. So please don't forget to submit done when possible, or when you can, in the spots that you have available to do that. We're going to do chapter 24. Excuse the raspiness of my voice. It's early in the morning. I tried to do this video 10 times yesterday, and every single time my kids interrupted. So they're still sleeping. So I'm going to try to get this done this morning. Okay, share. Okay, so chapter 24, chapter 24 begins on page 587, and that's where we're going to start. I'm going to read a little bit from that first paragraph on page 587. It says, radiology is the branch of medicine that uses radiant energy to diagnose and treat patients. A physician who specializes in radiology is a radiologist. Radiologists can provide services to patients independent or in conjunction with another physician of a different specialty. The radiology section of the CPT manual is divided into subsections. These are those subsections that you see here: diagnostic radiology, diagnostic ultrasound, radiologic guidance, breast mammography, bone joint studies, radiation oncology, and nuclear medicine. Okay, on page 587, the next little section you see there that says radiology terminology. This exercise is going to be part of your assignment today, but you'll see that on Edmodo. We're going to talk about the terms that are listed on page 588, starting with fluoroscopy. I want you to know that I'm just giving very quick synopsis of these definitions, but you guys know where it is in your book to make sure that you have a full understanding. Fluoroscopy views inside of the body, and it projects onto a television screen. Live images by which physician can view function and structure of organ. Example, 71047 76000 is chest x-ray with fluoroscopy. The next term is magnetic resonance imaging, MRI. MRI uses magnetic energy to view soft tissue structures. For example, 72148 is MRI of lumbar spine canal. Tomography, or CT, which is computed tomography. Tomography is used to view single plane of the body. For example, 70450, tomographic scan of head or brain. Biometry. Biometry application of statistical methods to biological facts. For example, 76516 use of ultrasound echography and biometry of the eye. Ultrasound diagnostic is non-invasive procedures performed to determine composition and contours of ocular and orbital structures. Now, again, that's just a little bit of what each one of those say. We're still on page 588, and we're going to be talking about the planes of the body. This is a video of the planes of the body.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Interactive Biology TV, where we're making biology fun. My name is Leslie Samuel, and in this episode, episode 64, I'm going to be talking about the anatomical planes and spatial relationships in the human body. As we go into neuroanatomy, we're going to need to know these planes and the spatial relationships. So let's get right into it. Here we have the human body. And I want to talk about the three different types of planes that we have. First, we have the coronal or the frontal plane, and that's a vertical plane at a right angle to the cerebral axis. And you can see that plane here. And then if you go at a right angle to that, of course, we have the sagittal plane, which is a vertical plane, but it's parallel to the cerebral axis. And you can see that plane over here. Now we have a mid-sagittal plane, which means it goes through the midline, and you can see that plane over here in red. And then we have a parasagittal plane, which is just off the midline. So, for example, a parasagittal plane would go through, instead of the midline, let's say it goes through right about here. And that continues down, just like the mid-sagittal plane, but instead of going through the midline, it's just off the midline. So that's parasagittal. Then we have the horizontal plane or the transverse plane, which is parallel to the floor. Now let's look at some location terms in terms of spatial relationships between two parts of the body.
Okay, I'm going to allow you guys to finish that slide on your own, or that video on your own, and we're going to continue on with our slides. But knowing these location terms, these planes, you have several pages. It goes from page 588 all the way to page 593. Please pay close attention to those terms and definitions and make notes. You're going to have a Quizlet that is going to help you with practice. So finish this video before you begin the rest of the lecture, please. Next, we're going to talk about component coding. There are three component terms: professional, technical, and global. You'll find these on page 594. Professional component means modifier 26. Remember, your modifiers are on the front cover of your CPT. If you turn it over, it's on the back of that front cover. 26, exactly what it says in the CPT. It's professional component, which is exactly what our slide says. It means the physician portion of the service includes supervision of technician, interpretation of results, including written report. I'm going to give you an example of when I use the modifier 26. I coded for cardiologists, so when the patient would come in and she would have an EKG at the office, almost every patient did go into the cardiologist. I always used a modifier 26 on those CPT codes for that EKG because my physician read them. And the lady that did the EKG may have been a medical assistant, but that technician was under the supervision of my doctor. Doesn't mean he was standing in the room. It just means that she did it in his office. So technical component: technologist services, equipment, film, and supplies. If you go to like open air MRI, they own their equipment. I've never used a TC modifier, but I know that when that facility uses a TC modifier, they also use a 26 modifier. So you may have to use a 26 TC because you have a radiologist, which is the doctor that would read it, and then it would have the technologist who actually took the X-ray and all the supplies and equipment, and that's going to be the TC, the technical component. These get a little, to me, they can be a little confusing, but once you start practicing your coding, you're going to understand that better. Now we're going to move into global procedures. Both professional and technical portions of the radiology service. If facility where procedure was performed owns the equipment and has a radiologist on staff who reads the report, it's a global service. No modifier TC, no modifier 26. I'm going to read the for example on number 3 on page 94 under global. For example, if a patient undergoes a radiology procedure in a clinic that owns its own equipment, employs its own technologist, and also employs a radiologist who supervises, interprets, report on the radiologic result. The global procedure is reported. But if the radiologist is reading and interpreting films that were taken at another facility, only the professional component would be reported for physician services. So what I'm hoping is that as we start practicing our coding for this section, we're going to get to know the 26 modifier and the TC modifier when it's global very, very clearly. Because I know right now it can be a little confusing. So let's move on from that. Contrast material. Now, I'm not sure if you guys know what contrast material is, but many radiology procedures require that contrast material be injected into the patient to make certain organs or vessels stand out clearly on the radiographic image. Codes in the radiology section describe only the radiology procedures, not the injections or placement of other material necessary to perform the procedure. Codes are often divided according to whether contrast material were used. The phrase "with contrast" means that contrast was administered intravascularly, intra-articularly, or intrathoracically. Excuse me. All through this portion of the CPT book, you're going to find that our definition of our CPT codes often are going to say with or without contrast. You have to watch that. The coder must read the notes carefully to determine which codes should be used for components. If the contrast was administered orally or rectally, the service should be coded as without contrast. The supply of contrast material should be reported with code 99070, and supplies should be assigned codes from the medicine section. Okay, now we're going to move on to diagnostic radiology on page 597. Okay, complete in a code description in radiology section means all views taken of specified body area. Most standard radiographic procedures are found in this section. Codes often divided on whether contrast material was used with or without contrast. Codes further divided on number of views. Angiography. Page 599. In angiography, a dye is injected into the vessels to add contrast, enabling visualization of the vessels. The dye is used to identify abnormalities inside the vessel. Radiologist uses angiography to diagnose vascular conditions, for example, malformation, strokes, or myocardial infarctions, which is a heart attack. Okay, I need you to listen very closely to this and read this very closely. You know, we've been talking about number of views, how many views were taken during whatever radiologic procedure. If fewer than the total number of views specified in the code for a diagnostic radiology procedure are taken, you should amend the modifier 52, unless a code for the smaller number of views exists. I'm going to give you an example. Say that you're coding some specific radiology procedure and the definition says for 5 views. That's where it starts. And the next may say for up to 10 views, for up to 20 views. But we only did 3 views. And the smallest number labeled in the CPT is 5 views. You're going to amend the modifier 52, which means reduced services. It just means that it's being reduced from the 5 to however many it was reduced to. So that's when we would use the modifier 52 in this portion of the CPT. Moving on to diagnostic ultrasound, which is on page 600. Uses high frequency sound waves to image atomic structures, uses high frequency sound waves to image atomic structures. Audible sound waves bounce off the body tissue and then are recorded to give information about anatomy of an internal organ. Your subheadings. Subheadings of diagnostic ultrasounds primarily are based on anatomy. For example, under diagnostic ultrasounds, you're going to see head and neck, chest, and pelvis. Many notes in this subsection directs correct assignments to codes. Okay, we're going to talk about the 3 locations for ultrasound services. 76506 through 76999 is radiology codes for diagnostic ultrasound services. 93880 and 93998 medicine codes for vascular studies, and 93303 through 93355 medicine codes for echocardiography. So we're going to talk about interventional radiologist. An interventional radiologist is a specialist who is skilled in both surgical procedure and radiology portions of an interventional radiologic service. These services require both surgery codes and radiology codes to be used. Okay, now we're on page 602, modes, ultrasound modes and scans. Okay, again, I'm just giving you a little quick definition of them. You have it in depth in your step-by-step from 602 to 603. A mode or A scan technology is one-dimensional. M mode is one-dimensional measurement procedure with movement of trace to allow amplitude and velocity of moving echo-producing structures. B scan technology is two-dimensional. Then you have your real-time scan, which is what it says in real time. An A and B scan may be performed together. Medical necessity needs to be documented. So you can do an A mode and a B scan together, but you have to have medical necessity attached to your claim. These 4 types of ultrasounds are listed in the CPT manual. Understanding these definitions is very important. The physician's note must specifically state what type of ultrasound was performed. If it does not, you must query the physician. The extent of study is important. Codes often divided on extent of the study. For example, extent of scan as follows. The extent of study is complete scan, entire body, limited scans, part of the body, for example, one organ, follow up, repeat, limited study of part of body that was scanned previously. So those are the extent of a scan, the examples of the extent of scans. Radiologic guidance, breast mammography, bone joint studies, and radiation oncology. So radiologic guidance 77001 through 77022 is fluoroscopic, computed tomography, MRI imaging, and other. Breast mammography is 77046 through 77063, such as screening and computer-aided detection. Bone joint studies 7071 through 77086, such as bone density and joint survey. And radiation oncology 77261 through 77799 are used for therapeutic uses of radiation, codes for both professional and technical services, and subheading divided based on the treatment. So to continue with radiation oncology, the initial consult to prior to decision to treat reported with E&M code, consultation code. Outpatient is 99241 through 99245, and inpatient is 99251 through 99255. Follow consultation criteria, document who and why. Clinical treatment planning is your professional component, includes interpretation of special testing, tumor localization, and determination of treatment volume. Clinical treatment planning includes interpretation, or tumor localization treatment, volume determination, dosage determination, number of ports, and the number of treatment devices that will be used. This code covers the physician planning how to best treat this patient for this cancer. Okay, so that is actually the end of our lecture. I hope that this helped you somewhat. I know there's lots of information still left to go over in this chapter, and I gave you through the weekend to read it, but if you have some that you need to go back through and make notes on, please feel free to do that. I hope you guys have a great day, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.